Last show of the year, Gold and Black Live. We save our best for last. Well, I don't know. Stacy's here. That's good.
Stacy's here.
So that's a good thing. Coach Darrell Hazell joins us. We always appreciate the fact that he takes time out of his busy schedule to join us. And it's snowing out there in West Lafayette. We don't want to, but we know it'll be balmy for tomorrow's kick scrimmage. Coach, Stacy's always prepared, has lots of questions, but just in terms of your general feel for the start of spring practice, you had a week off for spring break. You now are back, had 2 practices this week. An overview of how you think things have gone.
You know, it's been a good start for us. We had 3 prior to the spring break, like you mentioned. I thought we got off to a good start. I thought practice 1 and 3 were really good. Gave them a week off for spring break and then came back this week and had 4 and 5, and we'll have 6 tomorrow. But I think the guys are doing a really good job of the little details, and you're starting to hear things, a lot of good communication that's happening on the field, and I'm really optimistic about the improvements that we're making right now.
Good.
We're going to kind of focus on offense for this first segment, and then Kyle will take over and do some defense stuff too. But just, I guess, generally offensively, we've kind of talked about this in the office, and I kind of want to get your perspective on this. And I know some fans kind of just want a better grasp on what you're trying to do with this offense. I think people see you had Rob Henry initially, and it was one kind of offense. Mm-hmm. And then, Etling takes over, it's a different kind of offense. Mm-hmm. Maybe some similarities, when Austin came in, and then now this spring you have more up-tempo kind of pieces of that too. Is that a matter of you just trying to find the best fit for the personnel, or do you see that some people could say they don't know what they're doing? There's so many things that they're trying to figure out. Like, how do you view what you're trying to do with this offense?
Well, I'll assure you, we know what we're doing.
I was going to say.
No, we're trying. It's evolving. The offense always evolves. That's no different than any other place. But what we'd like to be is a spread-out team. Mm-hmm. Some no huddle, some up tempo. But we think our best advantage is to get people, as little people in the box as you can, and be able to do our base things, mm-hmm. and then do some exotic things off of our base things.
Yeah, you look at the best case scenario of this offense. Is as much. And Stacy kind of hit it on the first question, developing that identity, or is that something that's going to, any more in college football, you've got to be able to adjust to what you have? I mean, how do you view that?
Well, you have to be able to adapt to personnel, and you saw last year we lost a couple key guys down the stretch, which, kind of hurt us down the last 2 or 3 games when you lost Anthrop and some of those explosive players. But you always want to have that foundation in your offense. These are the 3 things you do in the run game. These are the 5 or 7 things you do in the pass game. And then it kind of flourishes out from that point of view. But I like where we are in terms of schematically where we are offensively, what we're doing. I think it puts some stress on people. And it's not only the scheme, but being able to have those explosive playmakers within those schemes really puts the stress on the defenses.
The one major change then last year to this year is the personnel in the backfield for you guys. Obviously, mm-hmm. It's a different kind of running back now than maybe what you had last year with the speed with Mostert and Hunt. What have you thought of that group? Jafar seems like he's really rotating those guys to try to find who he really likes, I guess.
Yeah, and that's by intention.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys have done a really good job. And you're right, they're a different type of back than what we had last year.
Yeah.
Very quick. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to bode well with our offensive linemen because they're really good at the point of attack, and they're really good in small spaces. Mm-hmm. Those guys, DJ Knox has just been fantastic for the first 5 practices. He's still learning. All those guys are still learning,
right.
But I like who we have in the backfield right now. I think they're tough. I think they care very much about the success of their plays, so it's going to be fun to work with that young group.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really, and you obviously have an influx, Markel Jones is here, mm-hmm. but you have other guys that are going to be coming in, coming this fall. Is it, is it essential that you get these guys to a certain level at the end of spring ball and then see what you have? I mean, can somebody really, a running back really be ready in that limited time for fall practice heading into that first game, the guys that are coming in new to you? How do you view that?
Oh, I hope so. I hope that, 2 or 3 of these guys really, we feel comfortable going into August and September when we open up, But we do have some other backs that are still out there, but they're going to be behind just naturally because they haven't heard the language or they haven't been in the formation for us yet. But I think that when you talk about DJ Knox and Keontae Green and Keith Byers, David Yancey and Markel, I mean those are 5 backs that they have. They're all a little bit different, even though they look the same.
Yeah. And
Do you want one guy? Do you
No,
want a-
absolutely not. No. That's still much different than a quarterback position. In this conference, you're going to have 3 of those guys be able to contribute for you. You like for 2 of them to be far beyond the other guy.
Right.
But you have to have 3 guys to survive a Big Ten season and then some.
did it have just changing the type of physical, the body you have there with Akeem Hunt and Raheem Mostert? Now you have guys that are more solid physically, more fire hydrant type running backs, I suppose. How much does that change your scheme, or how much does that change your thought process? Because they have to block, and they have to be able to do all the things first.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing when you're dealing with young backs is making sure that they're really solid in pass protection. But I think where we'll be a little bit more advanced is those guys are really good at breaking tackles at the line of scrimmage, and I think that's where we'll take a step. Now, they won't be able to hit the home runs like those other 2 guys were able to hit those home runs, but I think we'll be at the 3rd level a lot more than what we were with those other 2 guys.
Keontae did take a couple long ones last year against
Yeah.
Illinois. Had one, maybe didn't
got
quite finish
caught.
it off. Got caught. I know you used to point out every time I say that. You point
I
that
see
out.
you're the eternal optimist. Yeah.
Well, you know what it is? I am the optimist of our group.
Okay.
I really am. But I'm
We
just
can,
saying,
that's for another show.
in
But go ahead.
relation to those guys, taking it 80 yards and
Yeah.
for touchdowns, he didn't. He got caught. That's the only
That's
thing.
very accurate.
Thank you. I strive for accuracy. That is what I'm talking about. The group of receivers, what do you think so far?
You know what? I think Coach Parker's done a great job with those guys, bringing those guys along. I was hoping to get Anthony Mahungu more work right now. He's hampered with Achilles, a little bit of a hip right now, so hopefully we can get him back for those last 2 weeks. I think Posey's had a really good 5 days. I think Trey Hart's coming. I still want him to play faster. Yancey's, has been good. We need to see how he's going to be around, physical competition and those types of things. But he's looked more like he was in year 1 than he did in year 2 at this point in time. And then you have some other young guys that are starting to step up. Bilal Marshall's made some plays for us,
Yeah.
and then I think they're growing. I think they're growing up. I think they're playing hard, and I like to see the growth of the guys.
Now, contrary to popular opinion, because Stacy does those preparation and wants to ask a lot of questions, we will accept questions from the audience. This is a chat, so if you have questions out there, by all means, fire them at us, and we'll look at them carefully, and then we'll ask them. But we appreciate it. We also want to thank our sponsors, XXX and State Farm agent Trent Johnson, and John Basham with the folks in Basham Reynolds, and Hilton Garden Inn for their support of our show over this year and our final show of the season. You look back, Danny Anthrop, obviously, things changed for your offense last year when he went out in the game on November 1st at Nebraska. How's he coming along? We did a story, I know, in the most recent magazine about him, but how is he coming on, not only physically but maybe mentally, with the notion of having to make his way back?
His recovery's been somewhat remarkable. He was out doing drills yesterday, which is 3 months post-op, which is unheard of for an ACL tear. And I saw him at the elevator today, and he had the biggest smile on his face. He said he felt great after practice yesterday, so he's not getting a whole lot of swelling. But we need Danny Anthrop, and we need about 4 or 5 guys like him, because then you become very dangerous.
He definitely became dangerous. Is that something that's happening with ACL injuries? Is this a medical advances and with training and everything that's just speeding this up so it seems like dramatically over the last 3 or 4 years? Is that a fair assessment, or how do you view it?
It used to be 8 to 10 months
Yeah.
for recovery. Now it seems like it's 4 to 5
Yeah.
months
Yeah.
for getting guys back. I mean, it's just remarkable what the medical field has done with that injury here in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Because even Sindelar,
Yeah.
I mean, what he's doing for you guys where he's able to actually stand and throw at this point. I was kind of amazed to see that.
Yeah, when
this spring.
when he went down in that last high school game, I thought there was no way that we would get him for anything for spring football.
Right.
And he's been out there throwing, and he also said that he feels great. He says prior to going home for spring ball, there was a little irritation there, but he said he's come back and he feels outstanding.
We got
I
go
can't
ahead.
believe he doesn't have a brace on. That's all I was going to say.
A comment from Matt just saying how the Boilermakers will be making their way down to Indianapolis Tech High School April 9th, is that right?
Arsenal Tech.
Oh, yeah, Arsenal Tech in Indy. And Matt just wanted to say thanks for coming to Indy. A lot of Purdue fans down in Indianapolis. You'll have them all out there ready to go. What time is that the usual start time?
We'll probably, by the time we leave here, we're going to load the bus at 3 o'clock. By the time we get down there, it'll be 4:15 or so before we start practice. But that's one of the reasons we wanted to do that, so people like him can come out and watch his practice that may not have a chance to get up and watch his practice here and see all the work that goes into being a good Boilermaker football team. And we want all the people down there to be able to come out and watch us.
Did you get last year you went to St. Joe? Was that in fall camp?
That's fall
Okay,
camp,
it was in fall camp. Do you think, and I know it's early, thinking that you may still do that type of thing again, or wait to see?
We'll wait to see.
Why do I ask questions I know he's going to answer that way? Don't tell him, just let him answer. Go ahead. I'm talking to myself.
We're going to talk about the quarterbacks now, and I know we've waited long enough for a lot of people to talk about the quarterbacks. I had read that Urban Meyer said that the quarterback decision at Ohio State is starting to eat away at me a little bit, knowing that he's going to choose one guy out of that group. How do you feel about your competition at quarterback right now?
Well, I think after 5 practices, it's not eating away at me, but, we're dealing with different situations there. It's a healthy challenge. It's a healthy, those guys go at it every single day. We've been rotating them the first 4 or 5 practices, and probably starting next week, we'll do the thing you and I talked about in terms of rotating them through different periods
Right.
within the practice. But, I think if we were to play today, you would play with Austin based off of the first 5 practices, but we're a long way from there. And both of those other guys are capable, and even Sindelar, we'll have to see
Yeah.
what he's all about.
A question also that came up with Sindelar, what if he can't play at speed this spring, though? I mean, what is it all literally classroom learning and then being able to watch? What do you hope he can really accomplish with that? Because he really looks the part. I mean, he's an impressive kid.
He really is, and he can spin it pretty good. The big thing for him right now is to be an absolute sponge, and he can't ask enough questions in the quarterback room, and he's got to take in so much information right now to make sure that he's getting those mental reps that he obviously can't get the physical reps, but he has to get those mental reps and go through his reads and mentally take the drop and scan his eyes to the protection and as well as the coverages.
Yeah. He's an engineer, though. He's got some stuff going on upstairs.
Yeah,
You
he's a
can
very
tell-
bright guy.
You can tell that immediately when you at least
I don't think he got a B in high school, to be honest.
He's never gotten a B.
He's never gotten a B,
ever.
ever.
No. Didn't you read my story? Come on, Darrell.
Okay.
He didn't sign up for this. I know he did. We have somebody that's saying that.
Good-natured ribbing? I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
Stacy is the best football person on the Golden Black staff. Stacy's
Is that
got
for
people-
real? Where'd
I
that
said,
come
yeah.
from?
Well, Kyle can rebut that in segment 2. so.
Kyle's
Did Stacy
copying
write
and
that
pasting.
I don't know. I don't know how she
I
could have gotten that
didn't.
text in
I
there.
didn't.
So go ahead.
I think
Stacy.
kind of an interesting dynamic with the quarterbacks and what you ask of them is that you've been very clear that you place a premium on not turning the ball over and valuing the football. But now this spring, you're talking about we want to take shots. We want to do the 50-50s and give our receivers chances. How do you find the balance then? Because potentially that could open you up to more turnovers. No?
Potentially, but you hope in those 50-50 balls that you throw on the outside of the numbers to give those guys a chance that we're going to at least get the ball out of the air. Go up and battle for it and try to obviously catch it, but at worst case scenario, the ball's it's knocked down. But the turnovers that kill you are the things that happen inside the hashes. Making poor decisions or late with the throws. Those are the ones that really they crush you.
A question, it's kind of a team-oriented question, but just in terms of the mindset of your squad at this point. Obviously, they've been through the paces in February and all that it takes to get through that and all the preconditioning. Do you characterize your team as excited, angry because they didn't finish the way they were? How do you, or is there a fine line between the two that they need to have in terms of having that edge to get the program to where you want it to be?
I think if there's one word that I could say about our football team right now is they're driven. And you watch them, how they work. They come to work every day, and they're so focused on getting themselves better. And that's all they worry about. And whether it's in the meeting room, whether it's out on the football field. For the first time yesterday since I've been here, I saw something that happened which said, you know what, they're finally starting to get it. And then, you know, we were out there, we were doing a very competitive third down situation, and the score was 9-9. And the next, the team that won didn't have to run a gasser. And for the first time, I heard a collective verbal swagger from the entire defensive unit, like there is absolutely no way that this offense is going to, and it was from one guy to the next guy, and it was genuine. You know, sometimes that stuff is fabricated. Come on, we got to stop them, we got to get off the field. But it was a genuine, collaborative, you know, voicing of, we're going to get them stopped. This is how we're going to get them stopped. It was from Replogle, it was from Bentley to Danny E. I mean, it just went right. It was one echo. And I said, you know what? That was a big step right there.
Whoever you play at quarterback, you're going to need to protect him, obviously. And you have an experienced, game-experienced chemistry. I mean, guys who have built chemistry now up front.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're without Prince and Sermon this spring, and that's unfortunate. But those four other guys, you know, Hedlund and King next to each other, getting more time together seems so important. What can you do, kind of an obvious dumb question, but what can you do when you do have an experienced offensive line?
Well, I think you don't have to run plays over and over and over again because everything starts up front. People have to understand. You can have as much talent as you want on the edges at quarterback, but if you can't block in the run game, if you can't protect the quarterback, you don't have a chance. Yeah, you don't have a chance. And I tell you, I said this to Coach Bridge earlier today, that the guy that I really like the progress that we haven't said much about this year is our left tackle. I mean, he last year was trying to survive. I mean,
Right.
he came over here and overseas, and he did a good job, but he wasn't ready. He is so much more developed right now than any point in time last year, and just understanding that I got to keep guys off my edge and how to finish blocks and those things. And you're right, there's a trust between King and Hedlund right now. And now Kugler's a part of that threesome.
Right.
And we're still trying to develop that right side a little bit. But you like the development of those young players. You have Martese Patterson, who I think is going to be a star. Who's a 330-pound stout guy. And then you have Kirk Barron inside, who's really starting to play well at the center spot. So you know, I think those guys are taking the proper steps to getting better.
Kirk seems like a mini Kugler to me. Like he just seems like he mimics everything, which is not a
That's
bad
a
thing
good
to do when you look at Robert.
Yeah,
but
yeah, Robert's special.
they even sound similar to me.
Yeah.
You know, they're really vocal, and when they're making the calls, and
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting.
Yeah.
We just answered a question that came in. But tight end, obviously Terry Malone, you make that hire as your tight ends coach and move Jared Parker out to receivers coach. How is that going? Because tight end, you know, you have a lot of room for guys to play. Obviously, three guys that played last year that will not be back after graduation. How's that gone so far?
Well, I think it's going exceptional. You know, when you get a chance to meet Coach Malone, you know why he's been so successful. The guy's got a national championship in his pocket. He's got a Super Bowl championship in his pocket, and there's a reason. He does it the right way. He's got such a great demeanor and working with the guys from the ground level up. Just his approach on talking to those guys, just the details. He's really, really good at what he does. And, you know, now you have a young tight end room with Cole Herdman and Jordan Jurasevich, who has not played a whole lot for us. Just to bring that guy in there to develop those guys has really helped us a lot. And then to move to receivers for Jarrett's has been good for us as well.
All right, we're going to let Coach come up for air, give him exactly 2 minutes, well, maybe 2 minutes and 15 seconds, and we'll be back for the next segment. We're going to kick Stacy off and bring Kyle in as well. But that'll give Stacy 20 more minutes of prep time. We'll be ready to go.
Don't need it.
Don't need. I know.
Already got him.
I know you do. All right, we look forward to the second segment of Gold and Black Live. Stay tuned as Kyle Charters will join us. We'll talk about the Boilermaker defense and more on Gold and Black Live.